What's up, guys? I am Eric. That is young Michael, and we
Hello.
are back with. We're gonna call it my first time. Dot dot dot. That's right. Well, last week Michael had a very daunting homework assignment. He needed to listen to Alice in Chains' "Dirt" from start to back, and now it is my turn to receive the assignment. So, what did you give me, sir?
So I gave you something equally. Well, I gave you also something dark. I gave you "Nightmare" by Avenged Sevenfold, the
Excellent.
2010 album. Just without me saying much, what were your initial thoughts on it? Let me see.
The Avenged Sevenfold does so many things that I like that are reminiscent of so many other bands. There's a lot of Metallica in there from all decades of Metallica, and I know you're not the biggest Guns N' Roses guy. There's a lot of Guns N' Roses in Avenged Sevenfold, dude.
Yeah, their influences, like in multiple interviews that they've done before, it's like they pull Metallica references. You had mentioned Megadeth in one of the songs that we'll talk about on the. They love Slash. They're a big Slash fan. Guns N' Roses, huge influence. So yeah.
So this was just an album I had just never gone into, other than the 3 or 4 songs that we played from it when it was popular.
Right. So go ahead.
So it was an excellent choice for me, because, like I said, guitar is what I listen to first when I'm listening to music, and they do it really, really well and always have. So there's no reason I'm not a bigger Avenged fan than I am. So maybe we'll try to fix that today.
Zachy Vengeance and Sinister Gates really doing up the guitar work for the entire band there. So yeah, getting into it. This is the first album that Avenged Sevenfold released without the Rev. Unfortunately, very sadly, the Rev passed away in December of 2009 after a good part of the album had been written, and the recording process didn't start until the next year. Album came out the next year, so you get a lot of emotion and a lot of tribute to him. Songs were written for him that were added to the album. You got Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater playing the drums, taking up the responsibility there, playing the drum parts. Absolute beast, dude, and playing the drum parts that the Rev had already written for this album.
So let's dive into it, track by track. Here we go. Number 1, the title track. It is "Nightmare." It was a very big hit at the time. Still gets played the overnights here on FM99 WNOR. Excellent lead single, excellent album starter. I was shocked, Michael. He actually says the F word.
No.
Yeah.
Watch out. Parents,
I've only heard the "king" before. We cut out the C.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole album, kind of a concept album, and this kind of kicks off the journey of one individual or whoever the individual may be throughout the album. So this is kind of you put yourself in this kind of situation. You've done this to yourself. Here you are now. I kind of see it as like Ghost of Christmas Future type thing. Like,
okay, yeah.
This is what's happening.
Could be avoided if you change your ways.
Exactly. But the dark tones. What did you think of the musical quality to it?
Well, I mean, this is one that we know, and they're Iron Maiden-ish kind of dual lead guitar harmonies. I mean, they do it, and they do it really well. They do it to a point, and I will get to one of these songs later, where if you or I were trying to play this, it would sound out of tune 100% of the time, and I'm not sure how they make things like that work.
I have no clue. Maybe it's the doubling up the guitars playing on top of each other that make it more like a chord rather than a wrong note. But maybe they're just playing jazz and it's wrong, but it sounds right. Who knows?
Just play the right notes.
Just play the right notes. All right, so we're on to the second song, "Welcome to the Family."
My first note I wrote down was GNR. So this is clearly the one. I think it's more in the vocal phrasings than anything else. There's so much, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of Slash in the guitar work, but there's a lot of Axl in the vocals without sounding like Axl. It's in the phrasings that they use. It's when they'll go real fast for a couple of lines, and that's just something Axl did really well. If you listen to a song like "Garden of Eden," you don't know what the hell's being said. It's one of those they had to do the video with the bouncing ball over the words. Things like that they, I'm not saying they copied, but definitely drew inspiration from and used it. I also wrote down "chugga chugga weedly weedly," which means the guitars are definitely doing really cool things in this song.
They are super fast, but at the same time that it's going fast, it's also just so well coordinated and well played. It's thought out rather than just being a super quick mess.
Oh, for sure.
And the thing that gets me about this is that drum fill at the very beginning of the song, leading right out of Nightmare. Dude, I don't know if that was pre-recorded by the Rev or if that's Portnoy playing off of what was already written, but that hooks you. That hooks you immediately.
That was a good one.
Yeah. It's again heavy, just like the rest of the album or most of the album, and we'll get to some songs that aren't quite as heavy. So moving to Danger Line.
This was the one. This was the intro. Will sound out of tune if any of us wanted to do it. It's just up there, and it's asking you to bend some strings you don't want to bend. And this is the story of a soldier, a la Metallica 1. This is more of this is my last stand, and I'm going in guns blazing. Now, obviously, these guys play a lot of Call of Duty, been involved with a lot of Call of Duty. So, well, for a civilian like myself, that's the closest I can relate to it. But that's the style we played. We're just running crazy.
Exactly, and just like you said, yeah, nothing that I can relate to in the content, but you get the emotion and you kind of feel like this is my final stand on the battlefield, and the end of the song kind of reminisces that. Unfortunately, it's a sad ending, and the emotion in that one, it's heartfelt. It's really, really heartfelt.
Yeah, I mean, when you start invoking lines like "my daughter loves her daddy," okay, all right, you got me. It seems cheap, but you've got to tell the story. This is the story that people live with, especially people around here, that unfortunately they may know all too well.
100%, 100%. All right, so Buried Alive.
It's one that we had played for a bit. I did not recognize the first 60 seconds of it at all. And then it immediately kicked into, I think, where the single starts.
Exactly.
This one, let's see, more Axl, that bridge, take you down now. Like that is Axl Rose. There's nobody else that does that. So it's very cool because, Guns N' Roses was my first real exposure to what I would say is modern rock. My parents' CD collection, had the Beatles and stuff like that. But when Paradise City came out, Slasher's doing a crazy solo for the last 90 seconds of that song. That's gonna hook you. And so it's just it's not quite nostalgia, but it's something that just reminding you of things that you grew up listening to over and over and over again is a cool thing to hear in such a modern take on such just epic rock and metal. I don't know if like the lines blurred. I don't know, but
so it does kind of hook something like you said from memory in the back of your brain. And this one's a little bit more of a slow burn. I think it starts very slow, melodic. Then in the choruses, it picks up, gets a little heavier, and takes it back to the slow part once it's done. But then you get to the back end of the song where it is just after the initial solo, and it is just going. It's heavy. The keys change, and oh man,
lower and slower. Oh, that's my new thing these days.
Exactly. So this one actually, it's supposed to be about someone bogged down by like anxiety, depression. Again, this is going through kind of stages of loss of someone, and at the end of the song, it's kind of, they hit their breaking point. And that's where it gets super, super dark for them.
Oh yeah.
All right. Natural Born Killer. This is the one that you had mentioned about Megadeth, right?
This is like 80s Megadeth, just 1,000 miles an hour. And it I don't think it ever lets up.
No.
This was a great one. This was probably top 3 on the album for me.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like it starts in one song, and then within the first 20 or so seconds after that little cymbal ching, it switches to something completely heavier, just heavy riffing, and like you said, slow down. It doesn't slow down. All right, what's up next? So Far Away. What are your thoughts?
That's all I got. We played this one for a little bit. I don't mean to draw comparisons to other bands and other artists, but it's what I have. It's our point of reference. When you hear songs like Nothing Else Matters or The Unforgiven from the Black Album, they shift gears a little bit when there's a guitar solo, and then they come back down. And these do that, but the gear shift, I don't know, it just didn't stick with me, or for this song specifically. So Far Away, it's just I couldn't tell you what it sounds like underneath it, probably because I haven't heard it enough. Like I've heard Yeah, Forgive It or Nothing Else Matters. But yeah, this one, if it's coming up on the playlist, I'm skipping it.
I get you, and that's totally understandable. This one, it's definitely a shift from what the previous songs were.
Sure.
This is one song written by Sinister Gates for the Rev. It's supposed to just be a conversation between friends, so it's supposed to be slower. The music, it's more simple, nothing overly complicated. It's, again, just evoking emotion within this.
Oh, for sure. And if I were a tighter, closer follower of the band, at the time, I'm not going to say, oh, it didn't mean anything to me when the guy died, because that's obviously a bummer. I liked the band a lot when I got a copy of City of Evil when it came out. So, I spent a lot of time with this band, just not anymore. So, some of the songs that are like nice little tributes. Trying to think of another one, like on Alice in Chains' Black Gives Way to Blue was the first album back after Lane Staley's death. The song at the end, Black Gives Way to Blue, is a goodbye note to Lane. It has Elton John playing guitar on it. You have to be in the right frame of mind to want to hear it. So this is one that you would have to seek out. But yeah, if it just showed up on its own, I can move on.
Be completely honest, when I'm listening to the album, it's one I kind of jump over also. But but then we switch back.
The shifting of gears.
The shifting,
beautiful thing.
Like from first gear to fourth gear. No, not between. God Hates Us.
Instant favorite was the first thing I wrote down. Just immediately it hooked me. Like, yes, this is my jam.
When I was listening through the album after I assigned it to you, I was like, you know what, this is going to be one that Eric comes back and it's either going to be up at the top or it's going to be somewhere within the first 3 songs for him.
Oh, easily. Yep, it's number one. The vocals. He's now didn't he like really ruin his voice like early in their career?
He's had to have a couple surgeries on his vocal cords because he tends to go a little harder than his vocal cords can actually handle.
Sure.
So, so
there's growls in this one.
Yeah,
and that's what I like.
Yeah, that'll grab you. That'll grab you.
It's oddly enough nothing like a Slayer song when Slayer released an album on 9/11/2001 called God Hates Us All. But this one, Breakdown City. If you want to practice starting your lawnmower, this is the song to do it to. That breakdown is insane.
Really, the pump and the shoulder motion going.
Hardcore kid dance. I'll be at the back. You kids go have fun.
The summer for anyone looking to mow lawns for the time being.
Oh, you'll be done so fast if you put this song on.
So now we hit what I think is the real shift. We're hitting 4 songs here. So now we come to Victim. This is aftermath of a funeral. You've come home, you're by yourself now, kind of having to deal with everything that has just transpired. So what did you get off of it?
It's Pink Floyd Brain Damage. I can't get over the female vocal. I cannot get past the fact that I know this song already, even though I've never heard it before. Exactly. They do a wonderful job of emulating. I think it was the album that came out right after this one, where you can find a comp song for every song on the album in modern rock. Was it Hail to the King is basically Thunderstruck. This Means War is basically Sad But True. Yeah. I think I have those titles right. So the fact that they did a Pink Floyd song is just wild to me. Not to say that that's what they did, but yeah, this one is that's a hurdle. That's a hurdle to get over to really try to enjoy it because it's kind of like I'm not calling them ripoffs. I want to make that very clear, but
yeah.
Man, it sounds like it sometimes.
Well, you said right at the top of when we started that they really evoked. They pulled references from other bands, Metallica, Megadeth, Pink Floyd in this case. So, sorry. Tonight the World Dies is the following track off of this. Acoustic, much slower, but again, you're still pulling the emotion. You're pulling into it. All acoustic. I think there's a little electric guitar in it for the solo section.
This one has what I got down the most emotion in the vocals. Is what my notes said. And these guys were born to write the soundtrack to Red Dead Redemption 3. They just love doing, not flamenco style, but Mexican style guitars. Like they did them really well on City of Evil in a couple of spots, and and it shows up here again. It's just nice to hear a blending of styles and influences and things that aren't the same.
Right.
And that's very cool. That's why a song like this is it sticks with you. It'll stick with your head afterwards for sure.
You vary it up a little bit, and this isn't the only place. This isn't the only album that they do it. I think every single album that they've released has a touch of like this Western kind of acoustic, Mexican type feel to it. Even I think the most recent album, The Stage in 2016, has a couple references to that kind of style. So it's not just for this album, it just helped with the kind of song that they were writing for this effect. Fiction.
Now this is an interesting one.
Fiction. I'm so curious about this one, about what you thought.
So I read up on the Wikipedia. I did a little cheating homework, whatever. So this contains vocals that their drummer, the Rev, recorded before his death. And it's if you don't know that going in, it's jarring because the voice is wildly different, and it just really sticks out. Now the fact that I don't think there's any guitars. It's just like delay pedals on a piano.
There's a droning tone that might have been created by guitar, but it's a very heavy piano lead. Yeah. Piano, and then drums.
It's interesting. It is absolutely worth your time. But on follow-up listens, I don't know if it's going to hook you as much, unless it really gets in your brain. My comp for this, I keep coming up with them. The latest Mastodon album has a song called Dagger that is very synth heavy and very drum heavy, like almost no guitars at all. And the first couple times you hear it, like in the space of the album, it's just like, this is perfect. But on its own, it's odd. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not saying it's an odd song, but like it's just like, this is what you like. If somebody walks in while you're playing, you're like, no, they do heavy stuff.
So I can't remember if you had said this already, but this song was written by the Rev. It was
right. I just mentioned the vocals.
Yeah, it was the last song that he contributed to the album, and it's kind of eerie because it sounds like a goodbye note. It's written from the perspective of someone who's already gone, talking to everyone that he's left behind, and it's super sad because after he turned this in 3 days later, unfortunately, is when he passed away. Yeah, and I think that his if you hear the harmony underneath, the vocal harmony, I think that's what his vocals were laid into, with M Shadow singing over him. And then on the word burn is when you really hear him. That is just him alone.
Yeah.
Burn. So
very cool. I'll definitely give it a few more spins, but I don't know if it shows up on its own. I'm probably moving past it. I need the guitars, Michael. I need them.
You need them. You know what? We'll record the song. We'll dub them in just for you, Eric.
Hey, thanks.
All right. Last song on the album, personally, my favorite.
When you see that there's a 10-minute album closer, 10 minutes or more, that's the best song on the album. It's just a universal truth. So Save Me has it. It ends like the last, I think, minute and a half, just chugga, 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 chugga. It hits all the buttons. It checks all the boxes. This is probably track. If I had to rank them, this is probably number 3 on the album for me. After God Hates Us at number 1, and then Danger Line at 2. I think that's going to be my top 3 ranking there.
Cool. This one, like you said, 10 minutes, 57 seconds is what I timed it out to be. Yeah. It pulls, it's the conclusion of this person's journey through depression and sadness and loss and all this kind of stuff. And it pulls all of that emotion, references everything that they've already gone through the rest of the album. And it's a big 11 minute epic, kind of just like, well, now I'm here. Like, this is it. Like, I'm stuck here. You're gone. Why couldn't I come with you? What is left for me here? It's sad, but it's also kind of hopeful in a way, because it's like, you're also here with me while I'm going through this, spiritually, all that kind of stuff. Sinister Gates goes absolutely crazy on the guitar solo.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff.
Yeah. So overall, last song, what's your thoughts? Full album, what's your thoughts?
Much like your review of Dirt, I think I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. There's nothing weak. Might be some skippable, but we can't all like everything. So Yeah, solid choice. Thank you, Michael. My life is better now, and I actually listened 3 times. Just so you know,
3 times.
had to
Ooh,
refresh.
2
So,
for the.
so this Friday, I will come up with a new album for Michael to listen to that he has never listened to all the way through, and we'll just keep doing this until we're sick of each other's faces.
How close can I have the eyeball? All right, well,
all right, guys.
I'm so happy that you the album. Thanks again for giving it a listen.
like you benefit personally from it. All right. All right.
Happy.
Check in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. This is Eric for FM99 and Young Michael.